Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. Good morning, everybody. Yes. Okay, I would like to welcome all of you in the remembrance of this event 22 years ago. My name is Chuck Callahan. I'm the president of the council, and I have my fellow council members, Vice President Pete Lesher, Council Lady Keisha Haith, Lynn Melke, and Dave Stepp. Appreciate you all being here this morning and coming together with the community and remembrance and reflect. It's especially important and meaningful to have our youth residents with us to appreciate this day in ceremony and remembrance of the event of September 11th. On this day, we awoke with a beautiful blue sky, and it's coming down, that's for sure. To have only our lives dramatically change in the very core of democracy and freedom under the attack, in a serious, deliberate attack that killed many of our fallen citizens and first responders. While the event of September 11th was devastating to all of us, and horrific actions of bravery and first responders will never be forgotten and will continue to inspire. In this day following, the sense of community, us, and American pride, spirit, and unity were truly comforting and inspiring. Let us remember that the country and as a county, we are stronger together than we are apart. I appreciate you guys being here, and I'm looking forward to everything that's going to happen this morning and in remembrance of 9/11. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to say thank you to all the organizations that have helped put this important event together. Thank you to the ARC of the United States, to Talbot County, and especially to Dina Kilman and the Easton Economic Development Corporation for all their efforts in putting on today's ceremony, as well as several other We Are One community supporting community events throughout the year to help empower and strengthen our region both in times of crisis and in our daily lives. After all the tragedy, the horrors, and the aftermath that was faced on this fateful day 22 years ago, one resounding sentiment lingers on in our national consciousness: never forget. Never forget became a lasting declaration of the statement that would go on to represent many interpretations to different people. To some, it meant a solemn commitment to never forget the events that unfolded and the impact it had on our nation. It's a pledge to pass down through generations the stories of resilience and heroism from that day, ensuring that the spirit displayed in the face of adversity remains a beacon of hope. To others, never forget stands as a tribute to lives lost during the attack, who they were, why they were cherished, and how much they are missed. Personally, I will never forget. I will forever carry with me the powerful sense of community and camaraderie that our nation collectively experienced in the wake of the attacks and their aftermath. In moments of catastrophic events, whether it be an act of terrorism or a natural disaster, we witness the selfless heroes who courageously step into harm's way to protect their neighbors, their friends, their families, and their community. While many of these heroes are firefighters, police officers, and first responders, it's important to recognize that on that fateful day, numerous everyday individuals became heroes as well. Driven by an unwavering sense of duty and goodwill, they did everything in their power to assist in any way they could. This sentiment swept across the country, giving rise to remarkable acts of compassion, including the heartfelt actions of donating supplies, food, clothing, or shelter to those in need. It also symbolized the simple yet powerful act of flying the flag outside your home, a gesture of unwavering solidarity. It's important to never forget the sentiment that took hold even 22 years later. While this nationwide unity was a silver lining in the face of disaster, through our efforts we can continue it without reliance on any sort of catastrophic catalyst. We know what we are capable of, and we should continue to meet the ideals that we see every time we are faced with adversity. I'm grateful that we have memorial ceremonies like this one and programs such as We Are One Community Supporting Community to help remind us that we are stronger together as a community and that we can prepare ourselves for any future hardships while helping and bettering each other along the way. These steps empower ourselves and our future generations to take charge and to step forward when a neighbor is in need. They give us preparedness and readiness to confidently navigate any rough waters ahead. They help assure us that in our own times of need, our neighbors and our community will be there for us too. Never forget the strength of our community. Never forget all that we have accomplished and will accomplish by working together. Never forget that every day our lives are in each other's hands, and never forget that when the chips are down, our humanity shines brightly. Thank you.
Thank you for the opening words of welcome, Council President Callahan, Mayor Megan Cook. You all noticed that as soon as the great Easton Middle School band started playing, the skies turned blue. Thank you, Easton Middle School band. I'm Pete Lesher, Talbot County Council Vice President, and I would ask that you would all rise, please, for the presentation of the colors, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Superintendent Sharon Pepukai, and the Star-Spangled Banner, led by Soprano Gail Avison.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you bow your heads, please? We remember, O God of history, we remember. We remember when the towers fell and the lives were lost. We remember when the dust and the smoke, the despair and the grief. We remember that sense of vulnerability and shock. We remember the numbness that overwhelmed us as we watched our screens for hours and hours, waiting for an explanation and understanding that never came. We remember. We remember, God of hope and presence, we remember. We remember the heroes who rushed to help, who guided the wounded down innumerable flights of stairs, who rose to overwhelm those who brought death to innocent lives. We remember the hours and days of binding wounds and giving comfort and drying tears. We remember, too, the words of support and compassion from nations far and wide. And so on this day of solemn remembrance, let us honor the lives that were lost in this horrific act. Let us give thanks for those who served and saved, who rendered aid and assistance. Let us offer comfort to those who live with loss. Let us seek justice and peace where it is within our ability. Let us build what has been torn down. Let us mend what has been broken. Let your love reign in the face of hate, and may we bear witness to the cause of peace. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on this special day. It is our third year administering this Day of Service grant. Each year is better than the last. Over 150 participants and volunteers participated this year, And that actually went up another couple dozen thanks to our wonderful library. Another couple dozen children participated this weekend. The theme of our project was We Are One, community supporting community. The question we asked each participant was simple. Would you help someone in distress? How would you provide support? From the smallest child to the oldest adult, the answers were given quickly. Examples of responses: I'd give them a hug. I would call 911. I would make sure they weren't scared. I would pick them up if they fell down. On certain days, participants were asked to create a work of art that reflected those words. During other events, we distributed materials such as emergency whistles, reusable water bottles, and brightly colored string bags with our day of service messaging. One thing is for certain: when asked to help others, our community members always respond with a yes. This willingness to help others is what makes our community resilient, special, and a wonderful place to live. Thank you to all of our partners, sponsors, and most importantly, our volunteers and our first responders that are here today. It is now my pleasure to introduce Pete Lesher, Talbot County Councilman, who will deliver our keynote address.
You remember where you were on that fateful morning when you learned about the unfolding events of the attacks of September 11th, 2001. If you were alive, and there is now an entire generation of Americans who are too young to have experienced it, if you were alive, you remember all too well. You quickly realized, as we all did, that this was a turning point, that things would always be different afterwards, though we did not yet know exactly how they would change. In the following hours and days, we checked in on friends who might have been in or near New York or Washington. Thankfully, my friend Chad picked up the phone, so I didn't have to ask an awkward question of his wife. No, he was safe, had been across the river at his apartment in Jersey City, had seen the jet hit his office tower. And yes, our friend Patrick, who cruised in a log canoe, had walked across the street for a cup of coffee, narrowly missing the fate of his friends at Cantor Fitzgerald. But so many others, 2,977 of them, federal workers, investment bankers, ordinary airline passengers on a Tuesday morning, first responders. So many of these others perished. And you likely know some of their stories. Perhaps those with local connections, like Chris Murphy, who had just moved his family to Talbot County after taking a job as a senior research analyst for Keefe, Bruyette & Woods at 2 World Trade Center. Because of this community, his wife to this day feels there was no better place to be, no more supportive environment in the immediacy of her tremendous loss than right here in Talbot County. Their daughters, the younger one just 5 months old at the time, were raised right here in Talbot County. We mourned them all, whether they, like Chris, were simply in the wrong place on that fateful morning, or whether they were first responders, called to run toward the danger when the rest of us run away. And our Talbot County community commemorates them on this yearly occasion. Part of what gives our community strength are those who are called to run toward danger. We have them in great numbers here in Talbot County, many of them present with us today. Police and sheriff's deputies, emergency management personnel, volunteer firefighters and ambulance squads. The scale of our emergencies is smaller. The lives at risk are thankfully fewer. But nonetheless, they are ready to put their lives on the line every time the dispatch call comes through. In ways, we look back to those days after September 11th, 2001, remembering how we came together as one, how we, as a community, support our community. Here, right here in Talbot County and across America, we were united in purpose at supporting our first responders, at supporting the families who had suffered loss, and responding to a threat from outside our borders. And we yearned for that unity, that sense of shared purpose as a community and as a nation. And while, thank heavens, we have not experienced such a devastating loss since then, we have faced crises, and those crises have changed and challenged the Talbot County community. In early 2020, in response to a global pandemic that we did not yet fully understand, we were forced to close down most of our public activities, our schools, sports, restaurants, museums. But some in our community found themselves suddenly classified as essential workers. From grocery store clerks and shelf stockers to truckers, and yes, all of our first responders. We could not have imagined it would go on for so long. Honestly, it tried our patience. Through it all, this community kept essential services going and devised new services that filled new needs. Our children were home from school, and many of them relied on school meals. So our food banks and care packs stood up to the challenge and created new food distribution networks almost overnight. This community came together to support the community around us, without regard to race or ethnicity, political affiliation or religion, or anything else that differentiates us. When the vaccines finally became available, who did we see on the front lines administering it? Members of our community, our health department employees, National Guard medics, volunteers including our own congressmen, and our first responders. This community came together again to support the community around us. Take a moment to look around you. There is someone surely near you, or a group of someones, who have helped you through an emergency, a crisis, a tough spot. Who in this community, as you look around you, or among those who couldn't be here today, will be there for you the next time you need that support? Our first responders are certainly well represented here. And surely if you are here today and living in this community, someone is thinking about you right now and the role that you will play in their time of need. Take a moment today to express your gratitude to some of those people who have already given you that aid or are standing by to do so the next time. Thank a first responder who has signed up to assist members of this community, those they know just as the same as those they might not know. This is what makes us resilient. This is what reminds us of how September 11th, 2001, and the days after brought out the best in us. We have risen to the challenge when we have heard the call in the past, and we will most assuredly have to do so again sometime in the future. And when we face that outside challenge, we will remember that, after all, we are truly one. We are a community that supports our community. Thank you, and please welcome to the podium Deputy John Coleman.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you to Sean Gushke on the pipes. I invite Sheriff Joe Gamble, Chief of Police Alan Lowry, and Director of Emergency Services Brian Lacates to present the memorial wreath. St. Michael's Middle High School's Thalia Turner will sing Of Thee I Sing America.
Of thee I sing, America, my country 'tis of thee. Of thee I sing, America,
invite Dina Kelman back to the podium.
This has been a very solemn occasion, and I appreciate you're all here and you're reflecting on our memories, but also on our future. And that's what I want you to see when you come to the library after the ceremony is over. The artwork from our children and our participants in the community that they have worked on all summer is wonderful. It's inclusive. It speaks to who we are and who we will always be, a community supporting each other. So please take a few minutes, come to the library reception room, have a bite to eat, have a grab of coffee, talk with your neighbors. We would love to see you over there in a few minutes. Thank you.
And I invite the Reverend Demetrius Price to offer our benediction.
Now may the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, guard your hearts, your minds, and your soul, now and henceforth and forevermore. My friends, go in God's peace, his shalom. God bless you all.
And I welcome back the Easton Middle School Band under the direction of Donna Ewing to take us out. Thank you, Middle School Band. And thank you all for attending today.